This is file 23-2155 FH or FYI.
Okay, so Ms. Trask, are you still there?
Yes.
All right. So this is a probation violation hearing. Mr. Elhart, you've been retained now to represent Mr. Foz. Are you prepared to go forward with the hearing this morning?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so Ms. Traska, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? So help you God.
I do.
All right, and if you could please start by telling us your name and how you're employed.
Amanda Traska, probation officer for Leelanau County with District Court.
Hang on just a moment, Mr. Elhart.
If I may, Your Honor, Mr. Foz is here to admit that he is unable to do the community service work.
Okay, so he wants to enter a plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
What about the added violations for, let's see, failed to continue counseling with the cancer center, disrespectful of court employees and care providers, and acting in a threat, intimidating, harassing manner. Okay, so then, Mr. Foz, is that correct? You're changing your plea in this case to guilty of the violations. That's what you want to do, is plead guilty.
That's his direction, yes, sir.
Okay, so it's still your decision, but I understand you've consulted with Mr. Elhart, and that's what you've decided to do.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so before I take your plea, I want to make sure you understand that you do have a right to a hearing at which Mr. Elhart would represent you, and you're choosing to waive that right, correct?
Yes.
You also understand that the worst that could happen is for this conviction of leaving an accident causing injury is you could be sentenced to up to a year in jail.
No, I don't understand that. I thought we'd already been through that.
You already went through all of this at your original trial, the part where you were found guilty and sentenced. But this hearing is different. This time, you're facing a probation violation, which means the court can revoke your probation entirely and hit you with the maximum jail time allowed by statute. The judge is simply advising you of that maximum penalty, which is up to 1 year in jail. And honestly, considering what you did, many would argue that even a full year wouldn't come close to being enough.
Well, that's the worst thing that could happen. Do you want to talk to your attorney some more about that?
By violating probation, the worst thing that happened is the maximum.
Okay, so you understand that, correct? Okay. Has Mr. Elhart answered all of your questions to your satisfaction?
Yes.
And no one's used any force, threats, coercion, or made any promises to you to get you to waive your right to a hearing this morning, have they?
I'm going to say no, sir.
All right. Then the report indicates you were placed on probation back in October of 2023 for leaving the scene of an accident causing an injury. And as a condition of that probation, you were to complete 30 days of community service work within the first 180 days. Is that true?
Yes.
And the fact is you did not complete the 30 days in the 180 days, correct? There's also an allegation that you failed to continue your counseling with the cancer center as ordered. Is that true?
True with extenuating circumstances. It's not true that I refuse or I'm not doing it. As I've mentioned before, a letter was sent from the parole office without my permission or knowledge, to my medical providers asking for information on my medical records. When I found out about that, I called my medical provider. They said they deleted the email. And this went on for about 3 months, me trying to get the email from my provider. She went to legally refused. And because of that letter that was written by the probation department and my asking about it, they discontinued service. They refused service because they didn't want to get involved in a legal case. I also went to my
Okay, so I'm going to give you and Mr. Alhart a full opportunity to explain the circumstances of these violations. But for right now, I'm just trying to establish if you're pleading guilty to this. For whatever reason, you did not complete the counseling that was ordered through Cowell Cancer Center, correct?
correct, but not due to my circumstance, due to their circumstance.
The answer is yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, is it also true you were disrespectful to court employees and or service or care providers?
I was honest with them.
Okay, but would you agree that you were disrespectful to them?
To me, sir, that's a very subjective term.
Well, we can have a hearing on that issue. We can
Well-
have Ms. Traska go through all of the emails and other correspondence.
I've got them too. I've got them here as well. And if you mean saying, fuck you and the horse you rode in on for writing that letter and other things like that, yes, I did.
Okay.
If you call that disrespectful, yes, that was disrespectful.
All right. So, and then it also, the allegations are also that you acted in a threatening, intimidating, and harassing manner towards other persons. Is that true?
No, sir.
Oh, really? Well, they're about to go through everything he did and said to the victim, the court staff, and probation. I'll let you decide for yourselves whether his behavior was intimidating, threatening, or outright harassing toward everyone involved.
Yeah.
For the purposes of this hearing, I suggest we go with the two that he's admitted to, and you can take into account whether or not you think the fourth is appropriate to consider for any sentence.
All right. So, Mr. Alhart, are you okay with that?
I am your
All right. So then, Mr. Foss, to the first three allegations, how do you plead?
yes.
Guilty.
I'll accept your plea, find it is voluntary, accurate, and understanding. And Mr. Alhart, what else would you like me to know?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm in the sentencing phase now, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Foz was, you had received it, I think, a copy of a letter dated nearly a year ago where he was given 2 years to live. He may not make it to his next birthday. He's under daily chemotherapy. Cancer has spread to his bones, the rest of his body, and the liver, is that correct? Lymph nodes. Lymph nodes. I'm sure that he's undergone great deal of modifications to his temperament, the way he behaves, and to everything else due to the cancer. I'm very certain, looking at his history and talking to him about his history, what he's done for our country, that he was an exemplary citizen. Cancer has changed who he is and what he is doing. His behavior many times inappropriate. Certainly, I understand his dismay that his medical rights were violated. By the same token, I understand what was going on. He can't do any work of any kind. He can barely make it here today.
Mr. Alhart, are you aware that he was given the opportunity to consult with the probation agent to try to come up with non-physical activities that would count as community service work, such as writing letters to veterans.
I wasn't aware of that.
I wasn't aware of that either, John. That's never been proposed to me.
Right here in open court. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Elhart.
What was right here in court, Your Honor?
When we were here on the first probation violation. Okay, thank you. Mr. Foss, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, there's a lot that I'd like to add, Your Honor, but it doesn't really pertain to what we're doing here today. I've been really disappointed by the professionalism exhibited by the probation department, my violation of my rights. The scales of justice don't seem to be equal. Inflammatory language, refuses, inflammatory language like that, it's not accurate. It's not true. I never acted in a threatening, intimidating manner. What I do demand is service from my public employees, and refusal of service is unacceptable to me. And that has happened with probation and not probation with my FOIA request.
You seem to have a real problem with anyone who doesn't immediately give you what you want. That's classic petulant loser behavior. And I'm not sure you understand that you're not the only person who matters, because I'm pretty sure your victim expected fellow citizens to act with a basic level of public decency, like not running someone over with a truck just because you felt disrespected.
And when I receive pushback like that, I don't think I've made any unrealistic requests. I'm not familiar with how the legal system works, but when I am refused service, it makes me a little irritated. I expect professionalism from my public employees, and I admit I've not been professional. I've been irate, and I get that way very easily. Part of it's, as we mentioned before, testosterone has a huge impact on that. It changes your personality. I had a doctor's appointment last week, and I mentioned that to my doctor, and he said it's an effect of testosterone. And the reason I'm unable to perform these tasks is because of my testosterone levels, my chemotherapy, my sicknesses. The reason I missed my last appointment for probation, and I mentioned this to Ms. Trask, I wrote her a letter. I'm very sorry I missed the appointment. I was ill. I don't get my mail every week. I apologized, and I asked her if there was something I could do to mitigate the situation. I never received a reply. So it's not that I'm fighting and refusing to do what you're asking me to do. I will happily do, if I could, sir, I would happily do what you asked me to do, but I'm not physically able to do it. I've mentioned that I would be happy to pay a fine to help out the community, but physical activity service, I'm not able to do it.
All right, Mr. Chamberlain, anything for the people?
Your Honor, I agree with Mr. Foss that the scales of justice are not equal in this case because he was charged with a felony and could have been charged with 2 others for felonious assault. Your Honor, he got mad at someone who flipped him off. He turned around, drove his vehicle right at them, slammed on the brakes, and one of the people got hit. That person was in the hospital. They had their leg split open for, I believe it was 4 days with a pressure bandage. So from about the top of the knee to about the top of the thigh. And that was due to his actions, due to, as he said, his anger. Mr. Elhart said, cancer has changed him. Well, then that means he's a public safety risk. Your Honor, because I ran the guidelines in this case, and had he been convicted of just what was on here, he's looking at 0 to 14 months. Had we increased it to the 2 additional felonious assaults, it would be 7 to 23 months. That's OV1 for using a vehicle as a weapon, OV2 for the potential lethality of the weapon used, OV3 25 points for life-threatening and permanent incapacitating impairment, OV4 10 points serious psychological requiring therapy and other medical intervention, OV9 number of victims There were 2 to 9 placed in danger. OV 17, 10 points for driving recklessly, disregarding life. Your Honor, Mr. Foz thinks he's the victim here. You look at his information or the email, excuse me, and this is what he says for the victim. To be bluntly honest with you, my opinion is the legal system is fucked. My honesty lands me in hot water. Menendez dishonesty lands him thousands in cash. That's fucked, really fucked. Your Honor, the only reason why he got a misdemeanor was because if it was an intentional act, we were concerned that his car insurance wouldn't pay for all the hospital bills and everything else that happened.
We actually see this happen fairly often, though I don't usually take the time to explain it. Sometimes courts will reduce a charge or accept a plea of no contest, even when a guilty plea would normally be expected. They do this for practical, civil reasons rather than strictly criminal ones. In situations like this, the charge is reduced because if it weren't, the person's insurance company might refuse to cover the claim, arguing that the act was intentional. That could leave the victim stuck paying medical bills out of pocket, creating an even bigger burden. That it's not a perfect solution, and it might seem unusual from a legal standpoint. But when the goal is to protect the victim and ensure their expenses are covered, it's understandable why the court makes this decision.
He got a gift of a misdemeanor where he needed to do community service to be done with this case. As you said, there's many non-physical activities that could be done. My suggestion, I remember at the hearing, was that he could go to a humane society and just sit and be around the animals to help them essentially. Your Honor, if he had wanted to do community service, he could have done community service. He's been disrespectful to the court. He blames the court for everything. He blames the victims for his actions. I don't know what you should do, but I do know that he's a public safety risk because, as he said, he becomes irate, and it's due to his medical conditions. Something has to be done. I don't know what it is, and I'm going to leave it to you to make that decision.
All right, so this is sentencing on a number of probation violations. Initially, the concern was fail to complete 30 days of community service work, which was intended to be in lieu of jail time, taking into account Mr. Vaz's medical condition. And Mr. Vaz was given the opportunity at the first probation violation. Well, it wasn't a probation violation hearing. We had a review hearing to determine how to go forward. And at that time, what I recall is Mr. Vaz refused to provide any medical information of any substance so that I could even verify what his situation was and whether he was physically capable of doing community service work or not. He continued to give the probation department a hard time at every corner, even pursued them with FOIA requests asking for why his original probation officer, Ms. Hulse, left her position, FOIA requests to investigate them. And actually, my probation department, I think, protected me, or maybe Mr. Vaz, I don't know, from the worst of the disparaging statements that he made about the court, about the probation agents, and Mr. Chamberlain hit on some of it. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Telling our probation agent, you need to back off and mind your manners, little miss. Thanks for really effing me in the back end.
There you have it, 60 days in jail. Normally, that might seem like a light sentence, but given his terminal cancer, it takes on a different perspective. Personally, I think a more fitting sentence could have been a year of home confinement. That way, he'd have time to reflect on his actions, stuck at home, unable to enjoy the outdoors, similar to how his victim had their life restricted while going through physical therapy and rehabilitation. All right, everyone, that's where we'll wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If it wasn't your favorite, feel free to hit dislike, but make sure to leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my upcoming content.